Let's sculpt bitty bugs with model magic. Bitty bugs are made from about a half an ounce of model magic. You could use a smaller piece if you want to make a smaller bitty bug. Our first bitty bug that we're going to make is a ladybug. So you're going to take some red model magic and roll it into a sphere. Then from that sphere, you're going to very gently flatten it ever so slightly with the palm of your hand, just so that it doesn't roll away. Ladybugs, of course, need dots, so we're going to now add the dots and other details to our ladybug using a black permanent marker. You could wait for the model magic to harden to do this, but if you are very gentle, you can actually do it while the model magic is still soft. The first thing you're going to do is draw a line that divides the red model magic in half, because the back of the ladybug, where it has wings, is going to be divided in half. And then as you get near the front, you're going to actually stop, because that is where the face of the ladybug is going to go. So you're going to draw a line across, almost like making an upside down letter T, and continue that over the side, and then color in the front, which is going to be the ladybug's head or face area. Once you've colored that in all the way, you're going to want to add some dots on the back of your ladybug. And they say that the dots on a ladybug tell you how old the ladybug is. It's time to add the legs and antennae for the ladybug. So ladybugs have 2 antennae and they have 6 legs. We're going to make them out of chenille stems, or some people call them pipe cleaners. So the antennae are usually a little bit shorter. So those are going to be shorter, smaller pieces, and then the legs are a little bit longer, and you might want to bend the legs to make like an L shape. So that way you have bent legs when you put them into your ladybug. So you're going to do that to all 6 pieces. You want to try to bend them in the same place so that they are even. And when you're all done, you're going to be attaching them. Sometimes when you insert a chenille stem into the model magic, it might fall out after the model magic has hardened. A way to prevent that is to dip the end into white glue first. So we're going to dip the end of each of our legs for our ladybug into the white glue, and then carefully insert them into the sides of the ladybug, 3 on one side and 3 on the other. And we're going to do our best to line them up so that they are symmetrical. If after you have inserted the legs into your ladybug, you notice that they look a little bit too long, you can trim them with some scissors. So just be careful not to pull them out, but you can go ahead and trim them shorter with a pair of scissors. And it's a good idea to try to know how long you want them to be before you insert them, but it's not a big deal if you have to make them shorter after you've inserted them. Now we're going to do basically the same thing with the ladybug's antennae. You might want to give them a little bend at the top so they can be curled over a little bit, and then the straighter end you're going to dip into the glue and insert into the top of the ladybug's head where it's colored black. That is the ladybug's head. The red is the back, so make sure you put them into the black part. If you wanted to make a bitty bug bumblebee, it's really very similar, except this one is made with yellow bottle magic and then colored with stripes instead of dots. And the wings are white chenille stems that have been bent over and inserted into the back. It has a little stinger on the back end of a little piece of chenille stem, and wiggly eyes were glued on. Now we're going to make a bitty bug spider. So for this one, we are going to pretend that we can't get any color model magic like black model magic. Even though they do sell it, we're going to pretend we don't have it. And I will show you how you can make this from white model magic. So the difference is with white model magic, you're going to have to add more color to the outside compared to just dots or stripes like we did for the ladybug or like you could do for the bumblebee. It still starts the same though. You're going to roll your model magic into a sphere and then use the palm of your hand to very gently flatten it just a little bit so that it doesn't roll away. Adding color to the white model magic is a little bit messier than just using the permanent marker like we did for the ladybug or the bumblebee, because we are going to actually paint the model magic with some black tempera paint. You could also use black acrylic paint, but tempera is a little bit more washable than acrylic. So you're going to paint the entire white model magic piece black to make a black spider. Of course, you could use a different color if you want a different color for a different bug or a different color spider, but we're going to go with basic black because that is the most common color for making a sculpture of a spider. So you want to make sure to paint the entire visible part. You don't have to paint the bottom really. In fact, it might be a little too tricky to paint the bottom. You can leave that part white. When you're done painting, of course, you want to completely wash out your paintbrush and then let your painted sculpture sit for a little bit for the paint to dry. Our spider body is now pretty much dry, so we're going to be adding our details, including some chenille stems to make some really long spider legs. So we're going to be using those. But before we add them, if you wanted to give your spider a little open mouth, you could use a pair of scissors to just kind of snip a little opening into the still soft model magic. So that's a good way to give your spider a little open mouth if you wanted to. Next, we're going to be inserting the legs the same way we did for the ladybug. So dip them first into the white glue and then insert them into the side of your spider. Big difference between the spider and the ladybug is that the spider has 8 legs, but the ladybug had 6. So for the spider, we're going to put 4 legs on each side, and we want to be very careful to make them symmetrical so that they are the same on each side in the same place. So you're going to do that. Your spider also doesn't have any antennae. The ladybug had antennae, the spider does not. If you wanted to add wiggly eyes to your spider, you would want to wait for it to completely harden, and then you could use some glue to add some wiggly eyes to the top of your spider, or you could even paint them on with some white paint and black paint. And here are our finished bitty bugs.